Hello and welcome to the Daily Space for today, April 15th, 2019. I am your host, Dr. Pamela Gay, and I am here to put science in your brains. We are recovering from last week that was, oh my God, one hell of a week for all things science. I have to give a shout out to my co-host on this channel, Annie Wilson, who appears as Binary Ablaze. She was my hero, helping me get through a lot of I had day job things that were interfering, and she stepped in where needed. And as always, together we traded off covering the press conferences and covering the launches, and we were able to bring it all here to you. So shout out to Annie for simply being awesome. Now, this week we do have a bunch of new news for you, and it all starts with not so much news as a reminder that on April 27th, we are going to be celebrating 10 years of 365 days of astronomy. I'm going to be sending emails out today to all the long lost hosts that I think we finally tracked down, and getting more and more people involved for this all day celebration. Please be prepared to tune in and, get scienced at for an entire day. Now, in the realm of space news, we do have a variety of things going on, and I'm going to start with, scientists underestimated Mars. This is a picture of the Mars mole base that is sitting on the surface of Mars attached to the InSight lander. This little device is supposed to drive a thermometer many meters beneath the surface of Mars. Thank you, Ben Science and Games, for the subscription. Thank you so much. This little detector is supposed to be driving a thermometer several meters beneath the surface of Mars and helping us better understand so many different things, but we can't understand them because our detector got all of 30 centimeters, which is not many meters. It is far short of many meters. It got about 30 centimeters beneath the surface and could make it no further. So at this point, people in Germany working for DLR, one of the collaborators on the InSight lander, have a replica of the Mars mole, and they have a cubic meter of dirt, and they are trying to figure out how to handle being stuck in the rock. Now, one of the things that I'm wondering if it just never really occurred to anyone is, what if they hit bedrock? What if they just had the misfortune of landing somewhere where there is a giant boulder beneath them and they're just not going to get any further down? Well, the Mars mole has the capacity to work itself around small rocks. It doesn't have the capacity to drill through bedrock or other greater issues. So, it's a wait and see game. And one of the frustrations is they can't be driving the thermometer under the ground while they're making seismic detections. So, there's going to be trade-offs. But in other Mars news, the Curiosity rover Mars Science Laboratory dug itself a hole in the clay. This is one of the things that many scientists have been most excited about with Mars Curiosity's mission. Mount Sharp, the mountain in the center of Gale Crater, where Curiosity is currently on the rove, is known to have these clay deposits that could have only formed in water. And while curiosity has drilled into a variety of different surfaces as it traversed the Vera Rubin Ridge, uh, this is the first time it's been able to just basically reach out and go vrr, 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 and just drill and not have to use any of its ratcheting or pressure devices to break into the rock. This was super rough rock. And what I want to know, and I haven't heard a good explanation for yet, is it appears that in the process of drilling and then lifting the drill out of the clay, the section of clay that they dug into basically lifted up and got slightly displaced. So this gives us a real sense of how loose this soil is, how soft this soil is. And we're all looking forward to, now that Curiosity has a sample of this clay in its ovens, what is it going to find as it measures this sample? Now, other things that I'm seeing in this is you can see a variety of white shininess. It is unclear if that is frost or something else. Again, things we have yet to learn. But it's all kind of awesome. So go, Curiosity, go. We have your back. Make us a science. So it's all about how rocky worlds are helping us with science today. And in what was one of the more unexpected headlines, a team of scientists have figured out how to use asteroids to measure the sizes of stars. Now, this is one of those pieces of science that you look at and it's like, oh, why didn't we try that earlier? And it was because we didn't have the technology. And then it's like, why wasn't I taught about this earlier? And it was because we didn't think we'd be able to do it. So no one really bothered to teach it, at least not to me. And what's happening here is if you have a laser and you shine it along the very edge of a razor blade or something else, the light from that laser will get spread out. It will get diffracted into a series of bright and unilluminated patches. Thank you, Fenmill, for the bits. Thank you so much. I will catch up on throwing things to the dogs after I'm done with the news. So with this particular fabulous discovery, what it was figured out is, well, the reason that laser lights allow us to take advantage of their diffraction patterns is all of the light is what we call collimated. The waves are lined up as they travel through the room. And in this particular case, what is happening instead is the light coming from the star is all moving together in a way that allows us. I'm sorry, my computer is ringing and I just need to hang up on my computer, and my watch and my phone are ringing. Okay, it's all done ringing. Sorry about that, everyone. Oh man, the alarm, I didn't realize it was getting caught into the stream. Sorry. I have the Chrome audio going into the stream, but not into my ears. And I didn't realize it was getting you as well. No, it was no tornado alarm. Thank you, Susie Murph. Thank you so much for this sub. And now that I've distracted all of you quite thoroughly, I think it is time for me to bring in the dogs, and I will finish explaining the science. There are the dogs. No, go back over there. Go back. You're going to come up over here. Okay. Come on up here. This is Eddie. In thanks for you guys being wonderful, the best gift I know how to give you, you can't have all of them. The best gift I know how to give you is a gift of cute. So here is my super cute buddy. And Stella, who's on camera, is working on chewing a bone still, so she's fine. Hi, was that good? Was that good? Thank you so much, Veronica. Okay, there. Was that good? Was that good? Look at the camera. Eddie, look at the camera. Ah, look. Okay, here you go. Okay. So back to discussing diffraction. Okay, Stella, I'll throw you one too. Not that I know how to throw. All right, now let's see if Eddie goes ahead and gets the bone. Anyways, thank you for your support. It really makes what we do possible. And now back to diffraction. So with stars, their light comes to us in the same lined up way that laser light is. And this is what allows us to do a lot of different science, and what in many ways allows us to do things like collimate our telescopes so that we get particularly good images. Well, just as you can use a razor blade to diffract your laser light, it turns out you can use asteroids to diffract starlight. But the diffraction pattern, the ring, because stars are points, that ring of bright and dark circles you get, or bright and non illuminated circles that you get, are extremely, extremely hard to measure. And it's only with our best modern instrumentation and CCD technologies that we're finally able to, in a deployable manner, make these kinds of measurements. So, what astronomers are beginning to do is look to be in the place where overhead an asteroid passes in front of a star. And at that moment, when the asteroid passes in front of the edge of the star, there is a diffraction pattern that forms. And how that diffraction pattern forms allows us to work backwards to the sign of the star, size of the star. Now, this isn't easy. This is, in fact, quite difficult. But it's the kind of science that gives us one more amazing way to, well, see things that we normally wouldn't be able to see. Stars are essentially point sources on the sky. They are so far away that we don't have the capacity with our best telescopes for the average star. There's special exceptions like Betelgeuse. With the average star, we don't have the capacity to measure the diameter. And it's only through finding these tricks of the trade, it's only through using orbiting planets, through using occultations by asteroids, it's only through these trickstery ways that we're able to start measuring such fundamental things as how big's that star in my telescope. So, yeah, it's not something that I have beautiful pictures to display. It's not the most super it's not sexy science. I'll just go with that. But it's powerful science. And it's the kind of science that also requires astronomers to be on the go, because there may only be one small place on the planet Earth that you can be to see these kinds of events take place and make the observations needed to measure the diameters of stars. So it's a whole lot of awesome. It's a whole lot of awesome. So as a quick roundup for the day, we had a tale of Mars InSight continues to have its mole stuck in the mud or dirt, as the case may be, and they're trying to figure out how to get it to move along. Mars Curiosity is digging into the clay and finding it nice and soft and easy to sample, and now we are waiting for the science results. And asteroids are allowing us to measure the sizes of distant stars. So That's it for today's Daily Space. I will now take your questions. Please at me in the chat. It makes it so much easier for me to find. Now, one of the things I'm going to ask you to do is give us a follow. And we recently realized that we actually have a super short, awesome URL for our YouTube channel. I just need to make sure that I know what it is. It is youtube.com/C for channel/CosmoQuest for us. And so please go give our channel a follow. It will bring zombies to the stream. And this is where you can, well, find out more about what we're doing. It is where I will premiere the new opening that I'm going to be working on later today for this show. I won't be done today. And it really helps us out to have you subscribing. So please give us a sub over on YouTube where it is free to do so. As always, we are a production of the Planetary Science Institute, working in collaboration with Youngstown State University. We are a nonprofit dedicated to putting science in your head, or actually the nonprofit itself is dedicated to exploring our solar system. And I am dedicated. Thank you, AstroWise, for the sub on YouTube. I am dedicated to putting science in your head, along with, thank you for the sub over here as well. I am dedicated to putting science in your head, along with my co-host, Annie Wilson. We are currently working on raising funds to make sure that in this month of so many launches and so many other things, I can pay Annie all that she is worth. So please, over there, consider giving at least the cup of a coffee per month. Subs are amazing and will help us know that there's a good chance we can count on you to help us feed Annie month after month after month. Okay, so now to turn to your questions. That was the wrong way to do that. Let me, clear layer. That's what I meant to do. Okay, so scrolling backwards to find your questions. Thank you to learn. Let me bring up Dog Cam, and I shall bring the dogs treats of goodness in my gratitude for all of you. So there. I was totally not manipulating my screen correctly. Sorry, I'm still getting used to this new software. Okay, so that is Stella on the other side of the room, and Eddie is right here. Up. That was a terrible throw to end all terrible throws. I will be going after the show is over to Walgreens to get Cheerios. Currently, I am feeding my dogs non-stinky treats from BarkBox that they absolutely adore, because the best thanks I know how to give is the thanks of doggy cuteness. Okay, scrolling to see questions. What questions do we have? So Hanny's Warverb asks, how hard is the tip of the drill? With the Mars Mole drill, the hardness of the tip of the drill isn't as big of an issue as how do they exert force with the drill. It's not like a normal drill in the sense that you can tighten down on the system to have it force its way down. The way that it's working to break its way through is it's pulling itself up inside of a column and then thumping down like a thumper from Dune, but with more force. And with this combination of slow, gradual pulling up and thumping down, it is systematically hammering through the surface. Um, so there's no spinniness. It's just basically hammering its way through like a chisel. Um, it's a different issue. With the drill, you can like spin your way through rock and things like that. They're not in that kind of a situation. Astro-wise, I'm so sorry. It was not a tornado alarm. I'm so sorry. It was, uh, I have Google Hangouts installed on this computer, and I got a phone call, and mistakes were made after the show. I will be making sure that that mistake won't happen again. I'm a bit mortified that I just startled all of you that way. Okay. So Sting Cherry is saying, given Curiosity's cam, is it likely the frost will be better determined after looking at recorded data? Yes. Well, in general, everything is better after looking at recorded data. One of the things that we're seeing right now is um, what is best referred to as press releases of the smallest newsworthy unit, where the press release was released to show a picture of having made a drill into clay to celebrate the picture rather than waiting for the science to come out. So they will be essentially releasing press releases at every stage of this particular discovery. Eddie is such a pretty boy. He's also very, very gross right now, which you can't tell because it's been muddy. He's going to the groomers tomorrow. Um, there's always reason to consume coffee, DPI 209. There's always reason to consume coffee. Welcome, Ironheart. Late is better than never. So Astro YYZ says, is that kind of like a Foucault test? Yes, sort of. So that kind of test that you're mentioning is how you check that you have as perfect a lens as possible by looking at the diffraction around a point source. And this is more like looking at how perfect your collimation is and the size of the object. So it's related, but it's not identical. The maths are very, very much the same. So Henny's Vorverp is asking, does that mean NASA's Starshade will be able to tell the sizes of stars it is looking at? I don't think so, because they have worked very hard to give the star shade a really funky shape that will cancel out all of these diffraction rings. So I think they have purposefully made the star shade, which is designed to block the light of, and let me find a picture of this because it really looks crazy. So they've specifically designed it to prevent these kinds of diffraction events from happening. Oh, and I spelled that wrong. If you spell it wrong in the right way, you end up with all sorts of wrist pictures instead of W first. I'm not, there it is. So it looks a lot like, and I'm going to share it as soon as I have it on its own window. It looks a lot like a sunflower or some sort of an angry weapon from a James Bond movie. One moment and I will have it. There. So this is a picture of W First and the sunshade that it's going to fly in coordination with if they are able to get the funding to build the sunshade. Now, the edge around this has this weird scalloped sunflower petal design to it in order to prevent the kinds of diffraction rings that we rely on with the asteroid method of measuring the sizes of stars. It prevents those rings from forming. So, what we are doing to get the best images of planets prevents us from measuring the sizes of stars. Now, the thing is, watching those planets transit in front of their star, in the case of transiting ones, that does give us a different method for measuring the sizes of those stars. So, it's not like those stars are going to be complete mysteries. It's just the sunshade won't get us there for measuring the sizes, and that's okay. Different instruments for different things is a completely reasonable way of doing things. All right, so let's go back to watching the dog sleep, and let's see what other questions we have in the chat. So the Raven Lillian asks, was the image for the star refraction on an asteroid an artist's rendition? Yes, it was an artist's rendition. Those diffraction rings that I showed will show up in the image, but the asteroid won't. The asteroids are simply too small and too poorly illuminated to be able to see them in the images. So Bad Panda Bear asks, does this give the angular size of the star or the absolute value in meters? It gives the angular size, and there are ways to convert from that to meters, centimeters, kilometers, depending on how you measure such things. But yeah, it gives it to us in terms of the angular size. What else do we have? I love seeing you guys using all of our different emotes. It brings pleasure to my soul to do a discussion on Mars rovers and seeing you emote with the Mars rovers. Thank you so much. You know, I should talk to BarkBox about sponsoring. That is something I need to figure out. I have no idea how to go about doing that, but that is something I should figure out. Okay, what's the next launch? Oh, Larry, that is so totally an Annie question, but DPI has your back. It is CRS NG11E on Wednesday. I'm sorry that rocket launches are not the thing I have put in my head yet. Hello, MMA fighter. Welcome. Scrolling for more questions. Fenmel says, if I recall correctly, didn't W First get all funding canceled in the proposed budget? Yes. This for the second year in a row. The presidential budget for NASA line item canceled the W First spacecraft. Last year, Congress reinstated the funding and then gave it more funding than they asked for, which turned out to be the funding they actually needed. This is one of those cases where we have to remember that Congress controls the purse strings and the president makes suggestions. And while the president, numerous presidents have tried to cancel, for instance, the NASA Office of Education, Congress has reinstated that funds, allowing these missions to move forward. Now, this does lead to some issues where Congress may reinstate the funding for W First specifically, but because of the nature of the president's budget and because NASA is an executive branch appointment secretariat, I'm not sure the best way to put it. Executive branch gives the vision for NASA. When the president says no more W First and Congress says, but I'm going to fund it anyways, all affiliated programs get canceled. So for instance, with CosmoQuest, we had a project all ready to launch that was a forerunner to W First science using ground-based telescopes. And about a month before we were set to launch, we had our project canceled because of the president. So there is damage going on because of what the president has called for, but the spacecraft itself continues to be worked on. So that's the way it is. That's the way it is. Anyways, there is a dog outside barking. Come back here. Come on. Come here. Okay, so one of the dogs knows how to listen to me and is going to get a treat for coming back. I know, you are the bestest. That other dog, she doesn't get it. Up. Okay, so I am going to call it a day, and we will be back. The Notre Dame is on fire. Oh, shit. Okay, I'm going to go watch the news, or at least listen to the news, because that's often easier to deal with. So I'm going to go stick on the news and, yeah, sorry. I think when they say that the Notre Dame in Paris is on fire, swearing is allowed. Hopefully it's just small and, nothing is truly lost. So, be good to one another. Take care of one another. And I am going to find someone awesome, or at least someone who's streaming, to raid. If you have any ideas of who you would like to have raided, please let me know. In the absence of recommendations, I am going to check out the Knowledge Fellowship and see who is currently live with space and education related coding, or streaming, rather, is the word I meant to say. Wow, there's some terrifying things here. Makers and crafting. So Timber Anew is carving an oak with initials. We're not watching a bodybuilder because that's just terrifying. Adam 13531 is doing JavaScript coding. I'm open to suggestions, people. Do you have suggestions? Adam, okay, that I shall raid Adam. You guys are fabulous. So I shall raid Adam as I fall out of my window and give him a fabulous CosmoQuest welcome. So, wherever you are in the world, have a fabulous morning, evening, afternoon, and remember to get outside and look up, but only if the weather lets you. I know that there have been a lot of tornadoes and other terrifying weather going through our United States of America. Go in the basement when there's tornadoes, people. Go in the basement when there's tornadoes. But otherwise, get outside and look up. And I'll see you on the other side. Bye-bye.